So here is the second case related to the AKI or acute kidney injury, and Mr. D is a patient who has been admitted to an ICU with an AKI and which developed following a routine cholecystectomy. Cholecystectomy is the removal of the gallbladder. His electrolyte picture shows that the sodium is 138 millimolar per liter, potassium is 7.2, which is a bit high in that patient, and the bicarbonates are 19 uh, millimolar per liter, and the urea is 32.1, which represents the acidosis condition, because it's too high in that patient uh, as compared to its reference range. And the creatinine is 572 millimolar per liter, which also shows the acute kidney injury or acute renal failure, and pH is 7.28. The patient has connected to an ECG monitor, and the resultant trace indicated that he has the absent P waves and he has a broad QRS complex interval. My question is that explain the biochemistry and ECG abnormalities in that patient and indicate what therapeutic measures must be implemented. So the answer is hyperkalemia is one of the principal problems encountered in the patients with the renal failure. The increased levels of the potassium arise from the failure of the excretory pathway and also from the intracellular release of the potassium. Attention should also be paid to pharmacological or the pharmaceutical processes that might lead to the potassium elevation. Example, the inappropriate potassium supplements, ACE inhibitors, etc. The acidosis noted in that patient, which is common in AKI, also aggravates the hyperkalemia by promoting the leakage of the potassium from the cells. Serum potassium level greater than 7 millimolar per liter indicates that the emergency treatment is required, as the patient risks life-threatening ventricular arrhythmia and the asystolic cardiac arrest. If the ECG changes are present, as in this case, then emergency treatment should also be initiated when the serum potassium rises above 6.5 millimolar per liter. As we have already know that the hyperkalemia occurs due to some drugs like the ACE inhibitors or the potassium sparing diuretics, and the acidosis condition, if somebody has the acidosis condition, that it will also aggravate the hyperkalemia, like it will promote the release of the potassium or leakage of the potassium from the cells due to the concentration gradient, variation in the concentration gradient of the cells. So the emergency treatment should be given, as this patient might get the ventricular arrhythmias or the asystolic cardiac arrest may occur. And for the emergency treatment, we should include the stabilization of the myocardium by IV administration of 10 to 30 ml of calcium gluconate 10% over 5 to 10 minutes, and the effect is temporary, but the dose can be repeated. If somebody has the hyperkalemia, then we give the calcium gluconate in order to minimize the concentration of the potassium in the blood. And the IV administration of 10 to 20 units of soluble insulin with 50 ml of 50% glucose in order to stimulate the cellular potassium reuptake. The glucose and insulin are given so that the cells may sensitize to reuptake the potassium from the blood. They will get back that potassium to the cells which have previously been leaked from these cells, and the dose may be repeated, and the blood glucose should also be monitored for at least 6 hours in order to avoid the hypoglycemia. And acidosis may be corrected with IV dose of sodium bicarbonate, preferably as an isotonic solution, and correction of the acidosis stimulates the cellular potassium reuptake. IV salbutamol 0.5 mg in 100 ml 5% dextrose would be administered over 15 minutes, and it has been used to stimulate the cellular sodium potassium ATPase pump, so that this pump may get started and start working, and it will lead to the reuptake of the potassium by the cells, and this may cause disturbing muscle tremors at the doses required to reduce the serum potassium levels. So this is all about the second case of the acute renal failure or AKI. If you have any questions, then you can ask me. Thank you so much.